Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here, hope you're well. So I've made a new Photoshop file, and simply by going to File, New, and I gave it a name, which is Mr. Glenn Masking Tut, which is the same name as the asset you are going to download and drop into this artwork here. So into my background, I'm going to go and drag and drop it. So where did I download this from? I downloaded it from the Year 5 Photoshop Assets folder that I think you added to your drive before. In there is Mr. Glenn Masking Tut PNG. Download this and then drag it into your Photoshop file. So I'm going to go and get mine. I think I put it on the desktop. I may have it in my drive. Mr. Glenn Masking Tut. I'm going to go and grab this, drag it into my Photoshop file, my background. There it is. So what I've done here is, I'm going to quickly rasterize this. What I've done here is I flattened this picture. So you know from before that we had this astronaut picture, and now we had the sort of space nebula background too, and we use these by layering things up, and I've flattened it so now that you can see that the astronaut is inside here. This happens a lot with pictures that you want. When you are making your artwork, you only want one piece out of here, and that is the astronaut. Or there may be some stones from, let's say, a big rock that has the perfect light, the perfect texture for your space theme, and your astronaut could be stood on this rock. Yet the rock that you want is actually from a beach scene, so you have to cut out the beach. Here we're going to cut out this. We're going to use our magic wand tool, our quick selection tool, and we're going to go and use this rather than magic wand, because the magic wand, there's a lot of one color, but it's going to be easier to quickly select this. So my brush probably needs to be a little bit smaller so I can go and get into all the nooks and crannies, and as I move around my astronaut, Photoshop is clever enough to see that I've got my astronaut selected. So in here I'm going to bring my brush down a touch. This is going to take you a little bit of time because you can see that it's selected this here too. What I want is for my astronaut's finger to be selected, and also I kind of want that selected too. You can hear me clicking away. What I want to tell Photoshop though is to actually take some things away as well. Okay, so I actually want it to take some stuff away. I've got a take away tool just there, so I can subtract it from the selection, and inside there, as I go to select, Photoshop now is understanding that I want only this white selection. So you can see as I take stuff away, my astronaut now is perfectly selected just by using the add and take away. Excuse me. Next, what are we going to do? Well, we actually want to take the astronaut out of this space theme, this space background, and so I use my masking tool down here, and it's going to put a mask all the way around it, like so, just by clicking on the mask. You can see that the picture's still there, but there's now a black and white sort of negative where the white is the astronaut. As I've talked to you before, selections are really important, and I can see that there are some edges here that I probably want to get rid of, as well as some bits and pieces here. A good selection to start with means that you're going to have an excellent piece of artwork at the end. Down here I now have two colours, black and white, which represent the white which is showing through, the black is not. And I change these by hitting the X key on my keyboard. So you can see that when I select these and I hit the X key, you can hear me hitting the X key, it's now going backwards and forwards. So let's just go and grab a brush, which is B, and if I just make my brush just a lot smaller so it's a bit more manageable, the hardness, I'm going to set it to about 60%, but if I hit white now in here, let's go and get rid of that window, you can see that I can paint the background through here. If I hit X now, I can go and black that out, and now I can very gently start to make a better selection using my paintbrush. And as I just brush over this, you'll see just how gentle the selection actually becomes. Now that's too much, and I can see that, and I'm going to start to brush it away. Okay, so I'm just going to go and pause my video for a second, and you'll see the final result in a moment. Okay, so here you can now start to see that my brush is a lot smaller, and I've changed the hardness down to around about 25%. And the reason I'm doing this is because when I zoom in here, I notice that there are some bits and pieces that just need a little bit of gentle feathering. And as I zoom out, I'm going to zoom back into the tops here because I want that greyness taken away. And with the brush being a lot smoother and softer, I'm now able to get into all the nooks and crannies, and I've only got the last bit here. But as I zoom in, you can see that you've got loads more control over your brush. You can be really, I'll grab this over for a minute. There we go. This is the final bit now, and you can really start to move your mouse a lot easier. You can see that I'm undoing that as well. I've got more control. Done. Alrighty, so just using that brush with the black and white, I'm able to take stuff away and put stuff back with a lot more control. So I'd like you to have a little go at that. That's the first bit. The next bit is going to be about adding presets to the tones. So we're going to go and add some tones in here and start to change the colours of the whites and the blacks. So if we pop it into our desktop for a second and I show you what I mean, in my astronaut floating work from before, my Spoon Graphics theme, there we are, the artwork in here, you can see that the whites and the blacks have actually changed into greens and blues. So this is called a duotone effect, and we're going to apply this to our astronaut now that we understand about masking. Okay, I'm going to pause now and let you have a go yourself. Good luck.